Hey guys, this video will be a short update with a short milestone announcement in the end. I hope you guys like it. In this update, I started working on the smash mode for the player. This mode will trigger the combat behavior of the guy, changing its behavior from standard walking mode to the smash or combat mode. This will allow the guy to be able to destroy objects and defeat enemies. I started by just being able to manually target smashable objects. I thought this should be easy since they don't fight back. I worked on both the behavior of our guy as well as on the behavior of the object being smashed by creating a new prefab for it. The behavior of the guy consisted on first assigning a target to smash, the smashable rock in this case. The guy then would approach the rock and constantly check if it's in smashing distance of the target. If the guy is still not in range, it will continue approaching, and if the distance is finally less than the smash mode, then it will start the smash loop. For this interaction, I created 3 different animations: a fast attack, a normal attack, and a slow attack. These will randomly be chosen every turn, so the combat feels less repetitive. The damage of each attack will also depend on the speed. Slow attacks will do more damage than fast ones. So once the guy is close to the target, it will do the attack animation and it will send an event to the object is being smashed, in this case the rock. This event will notify if it got hit, and this then will remove the life from the slider. This is not implemented yet. Here I also implemented a particle effect prefab that will create some particles of material when the guy hits the object. I created a particle effect with a single burst of particles by making the mission time very short and not looping it so it doesn't repeat. The particles will have the same color as the object is being smashed, and the life of the particles will be timed to disappear when the guy creates the next particles, so it's less noticeable that they are disappearing. I don't want the particles to stay too long either, so it's not distracting and the floor is not full of stone particles, for example. The particle system will be created every time the guy hits the object. I did this by timing the event manually in the animation when the guy would be hitting the target. The guy will continue this loop until it gets an event from the object notifying him that the object has been destroyed, and then it will stop. Additionally, as I mentioned in the previous episode, if the guy has the happy mode, it will trigger the happy animation when successfully smashing something. For the behavior of the smashable object, I assigned it a starting life variable of 100. When it gets the hit event from the guy, it will subtract the damage value. The fast attack will deal 5, the normal 10, and the slow attack 15 damage for now. The rock then will check if it is still alive by checking if there is life left. If the rock still has life left, then it will wait until it gets another hit. When the value gets 0 or less, the rock will trigger some new destruction particles before removing itself from the scene. At the same time, the object will activate the loot object that was all the time in the scene but was disabled, so that's why we cannot see it. These will spawn some material cubes on the scene. Different objects will spawn different loot. After all this has happened, the guy will finish with the smash mode and go back to normal behavior. Like usual, he will look to us like when we click on him to get its attention, and will wait for the next order, unless it gets bored of waiting and goes into wandering mode again. Even though this interaction ended up working, I still need a lot of refinement. Some things that will need some work will be to have some feedback when clicking on the smashable object to know that the guy has actually targeted the object. Also, the player will need feedback to know how much life is left on the object, so we will need to implement the slider. The last thing that was implemented was the creation of the collectible loot cubes. The cubes will be removed from the scene when the guy gets close to them. They have the same behavior as the energy cubes. Once the cube has been picked up, it will also add +1 to the cube counter in the craft menu. For now the cubes are just for looks, but later on that will be how the player can get the materials to craft objects. On this update, I refined the Smash mode with no visible changes to the interaction. I also added the health slider to the smashable object. Every time the object gets hit, before checking if it still has life left, it will update the value from the slider from 0 to 100. I also took the rock prefab that I made and made a new neutral default prefab, so then I would be able to take this and just change the visual elements depending on the object. This will allow me to create a smashable object with the same behavior and different looks, like rocks and trees. In this update, I made the first rock shape with the same behavior as the previous rock, but with a different look. That's all I worked on this update on the game. I spent most of the week actually thinking how things will work on the game. Here are some examples of how the smashing behavior was ideated before I added it to the game. Another important thing that happened this week was that at this point, I just made my first month working on the game. Because I work so much and I don't often leave the apartment, I am not very good with keeping up with dates, but it was nice to see that I managed to implement so many features in the game for only working 30 days on it. I think it was not bad, considering that I didn't just have to work on the game, but actually learn how to do the things at the same time. And here is also when I decided that I had enough content to share with you guys my progress, so I decided to create the channel. That's right, apparently it's not enough to both learn how to make games and make game. I decided to add content creator to the mix. As you guys can see, at this time that I'm uploading the video, no one was here yet, so it still felt a bit lonely. But don't worry, I will continue working on it. So, when people start coming over and checking everything out, there will be enough content for you guys to stay. If you guys are interested in the rest of the development, subscribe so you will be able to follow the progress. If you guys have any comments, please leave it down there. I will be happy to read your thoughts. So that's it for this week. Bye!